All right. What's going on, fam? Can you guys see me okay? Clean off that lens real quick. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Actually, wasn't able to connect to the Wi-Fi as I usually do, so this will not be a call-in show, but I will take your questions inside the comment box. Give me a roll tide inside the comment box and let me know where you're watching from. Coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, en route to Pasadena to the Rose Bowl. I actually head out on Wednesday, and coverage will start on Thursday as you have media availabilities with Alabama and Michigan throughout those next couple of days. So I'll have tons of coverage, tons of player interviews. I appreciate you guys. So again, this is not going to be a call-in show, but I will take your questions inside the comment box. One of the things that I wanted to start out with when talking about the Rose Bowl was, why does Alabama win this particular matchup? And I see you. What's up, Jackie? I see you inside the comment box. Will as well. And I'll open it up for comments in just a few minutes. What's up, Des Moines en route to Minneapolis? Man, I used to live in Pella, Iowa, so I'm so familiar with Des Moines, Iowa. It's crazy. What's up, Herman? I see you inside the comment box as well. So let's talk about why I feel that Alabama beats Michigan. I talked a lot about this during our Christmas show, and I really feel that it comes down to the fact that Alabama's defense is much better than Michigan's offense. And what I mean by that is Alabama has 4 All-Americans on the defensive side of the ball. You have Dallas Turner, you have Chris Broswell, Terran Arnold, and Kool-Aid, JaQuincy McKinstry. What's up, John? I see you inside the comment box. Kenneth as well. And when you look to Alabama's defense, they're really going to present challenges for J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, and specifically throwing the football in tight windows or trying to run the football against Alabama. I think Alabama is certainly a team that is built to stop the run. And why I say that, you saw that against Georgia, how they were able to bottle up Georgia on 3rd and short situations. Georgia has some really good running backs. Now, they might not be as good as Blake Corum, and that is a big physical team. Big Ten teams like to run the football, as we know. But Alabama has showed plenty of times that they're able to stop the run. Again, if you're just joining, what's up? I see you guys inside the comment box. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Tomorrow, I will be in Los Angeles for the upcoming Rose Bowl. See you, Michael. What's up inside the comment box? David. And Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you guys had a fantastic time with your family. And I hope that you have a fantastic new year going into this next year. You have 2 incredible playoff matchups. Today we're talking about why Alabama beats Michigan, and I will take your questions inside the comment box later on today on this show. It's not going to be a call-in show right now. The internet's kind of spotty here up in the mountains. As you can see, my mom's house is posted at 7,200 feet. It's been really good to be over here and see some family and friends. So I do like Alabama's secondary. And we've talked about that all season long. And while we do highlight Kool-Aid and we do highlight Terrion, you have Jalen Key, you have Caleb Downs. And the amazing thing about Caleb Downs, when you go and look at the statistics of Alabama football, you see that Caleb Downs has 99 tackles going into the Rose Bowl, which is crazy because he's just a freshman. And a lot of people are going to reverse recruit against Alabama and say, well, freshmen don't play at Alabama. Well, I mean, you have Caden Proctor, who started every game this season at left tackle, and he has been really baptized by fire, right? And then you have Caleb Downs, who came in with just a lot of momentum and never really dropped off. I mean, that guy has had such a steady performance through the entire season. And the thing that Coach Saban said when asked about freshmen that play at Alabama, what does he look for? He looks for maturity in freshmen and guys that are able to have that kind of next play mentality. And that is something that Caleb Downs has, because he has been tested and he has been beat over the top. But for the most part, Caleb Downs has been really steady for Alabama. So I do like their secondary, and I've said this before. I do feel that Kool-Aid is going to have a big play, whether that's in the Rose Bowl or if Alabama is able to win and get to the national championship. I just think that it's going to come, and I know that him losing a spot as the punt returner, I don't really, whatever. Caleb came in and just did a fantastic job, took a play to the house, and that was kind of a turning point for the special teams at the punt returner. But Kool-Aid, I think, is going to make a big play at some point in time for Alabama's defense. And not to say that he hasn't, he just hasn't been tested as much as Terrion. And Terrion has been challenged, and they've wanted to see what Terrion could do in different situations with different wide receivers, and he's really stepped up. And I think, honestly, he's played better than Kool-Aid, which is crazy to say. So I think when you're looking in the NFL draft, I see those guys as first-round draft picks. Now, will Terrion leave to the NFL? I don't know. If I'm him, you think about it. But right now, he has some really good things going on with his NIL that he's been building up. We talked about that yesterday. The whole Lank wave that they've done. What's up, Walt? I see you inside the comment box. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Coming to you from beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico, en route to Pasadena. Today is not a call-in show, but I will take your call. Well, I will take your comments inside the comment box. And the team does get in on Tuesday night. So I think they get in tonight, and then there's a welcome ceremony on Wednesday. I get in on Wednesday, and then the first media opportunities are actually on Thursday. I will put a brief schedule inside the community tab right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me this morning. As I continue my route out to California to cover the Rose Bowl. Never covered the Rose Bowl. Really excited to get out and check out what goes on in there. Another couple of items that I would like to talk about on why Alabama beats Michigan, and we can talk about the offensive side as well. I was going to have that for another show, but I think the fact that Michigan has not faced a quarterback like Jalen Milroe. And what I mean by that is if you look up Michigan's schedule and you look at the teams that they have faced this season, they haven't really played a quarterback that has a dual threat ability that can beat you over the top. And truly a lot of these teams haven't faced a quarterback as dynamic as Jalen Milroe, and people are catching him probably at the worst time because he's playing, through the roof in terms of leading the team. And the play calling of Tommy Rees has really, what's up, BJ? I see you inside the comment box. Hope you had a Merry Christmas as well. Is really coming along, and I think he has so much momentum, and he still has a chip on his shoulder. That is the kind of the dangerous part about Jalen Milroe is his ceiling is still so high. A lot of people are like, is he going to come back? Yeah, of course he's going to come back. I mean, his ceiling, he still has a lot to improve on in his game, and I think he's going to be the catalyst why Alabama wins another national title. I've said that for a long time. Still sticking by that, and I think it would be amazing if he's able to get redemption against Texas in Houston, but that's all rat poison, right? I think that Michigan is going to struggle in several ways. I think they're going to struggle stopping him when he does run the football, and I think that he's been able to show that he can connect with whether it's Isaiah Bond, Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, Jermaine Burton. I think that those guys are going to do a good job against Michigan. And I will say that Michigan's secondary is certainly physical, and they're really good. So Alabama's going to have a balanced approach, in my opinion. Is Jace going to be back? Well, we will understand that, in these next couple of days when we get closer to kickoff time, and that'll be a question that we do ask Coach Saban in terms of the running back situation. But as you know, you have capable running backs in Roydale Williams, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes. We really haven't seen too much of Justice Haynes, the true freshman, but those guys are capable of handling the workload. I'm also curious to see some of these freshmen in action that have just enrolled at the University of Alabama. We've talked about a couple of them. I think there's like 9 or 10 that are early enrolled that are already going to be with the team out in Pasadena. Now, they can't play in that game, but those guys are going to be out there. For example, hopefully I get some footage of Julian Sain. I just want to see, what he looks like in an Alabama uniform throwing the football. And we did get some news from Tyler Buckner recently. I think it was a couple days ago. He said, while I am enrolling in at Notre Dame to play lacrosse, he's going to finish what he started, and he's going to be with the team going into Pasadena. So whether Alabama wins the national title or whatever, Tyler Buckner is going to be on the roster with the team. I like it. You finish out what you started, and then you move on to Notre Dame. So and the quarterback room is there's a lot of names in there, as you know. So you got Jalen Milroe, you have Tyler Buckner, who's clearly going to Notre Dame. You have Ty Simpson, you have Dylan Lonergan. You have Eli Holsting, and now you have Julian Sain. That's a crowded room. Still trying to figure out which quarterback. I feel a quarterback's going to hit the transfer portal. I just think looking at the numbers, a guy has to hit the transfer portal other than Buckner. I don't know who that is going to be. But I think one of the quarterbacks is going to hit the transfer portal. And I would assume that a couple more guys do hit the transfer portal after the season is completed for Alabama. I just think that, when you look to roster management and the organizational process that Nick Saban has, guys coming in, guys going out. But the one thing that does make things confusing is the fact that you do have a COVID year for a lot of these guys. So, for example, I think Will Riker has to leave. I think Is it Darian Dalcourt has to leave? But other than that, I think all other seniors can come back. I think Jalen Key is another one on the defensive side. But besides that, like Jermaine Burton could come back, Jace McClellan could come back, Roydell Williams could come back, Seth McLaughlin, he could come back. So a lot of guys could come back for Alabama for next season. And of course, we've already talked about how loaded Alabama is going to be on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I think when you look to biggest needs for next year, you look to the defensive side, and that's why Alabama had to add LT Overton to the defensive side of the ball. Someone who is an upperclassman, because you are losing Justin Ebogbe, you are losing Dallas Turner, you are losing Chris Broswell, you are losing probably those two corners. So Alabama certainly had to bolster up on the defensive side. I'll take your guys' questions in just a minute, and then we'll kind of have a Q&A going forward. Wanted to talk about X factors in the Rose Bowl going forward. So I think the obvious is Jalen Milroe, right? When you talk to X factors in this particular game, it's always going to stem around the quarterback. But I also think one of these wide receivers has to step up. And I think that getting the football to Isaiah Bond is going to really, make the defense worried about your other two wide receivers, whether that's Jermaine Burton or Kendrick Law. And I like the fact that Alabama's been able to be creative with using Kendrick Law. I just think the more opportunities that Isaiah Bond has, the better. And Isaiah Bond is the type of player who has really turned into that wideout. And he's reminiscent of guys like Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Watt. He just has that dog mentality. And we've had an opportunity to hear from Isaiah Bond, and he has a lot of confidence in himself. He's a sophomore, but he has all the confidence in the world, even returns punts. I would assume he's after Caleb Downs, and I think he's just another guy that's going to be that true wideout that people are really worried about. So in X factors on the offense, I think him. And I really think X factor, you don't talk too much about Alabama's offensive line being like X factors, but yeah, I look to a guy like Jaden Roberts having that doubt and dirty mentality. He was bullying people from Georgia, and Georgia has a really good defense. Cole Kublik does a really great job breaking down offensive tape, and he was highlighting Alabama's offensive line and kind of the growth that they've had from the start to where they are right now. Where was Jaden Roberts at the beginning of the season? We are talking about TJ Ferg, a lot of Ferg, and then Jaden Roberts comes out here and he just absolutely crushes it. So I look to those X factors on the offensive side. And then on the defensive side, I think it's pretty straightforward as well. I think Dallas Turner and Chris Broswell get to the quarterback. And I think if they make J.J. McCarthy uncomfortable, I mean, that's it. That's all you have to do to be able to, force Michigan to become one-dimensional, and that's just running the football. You can't run against Alabama unless you're Hugh Freeze, right? He ran for 244 in the Iron Bowl, but I look to that game completely different. There's a lot of misdirection within his schematics that Hugh Freeze does, plus it's just the Iron Bowl. I mean, that's a whole different thing. But teams that have tried to run the football against Alabama, it's difficult. I mean, Alabama's built to stop the run, and they got those elite, secondary players. So the difference in this game 100% is going to be Alabama's defense going against Michigan's offense. And I think on the flip side, Alabama's offense has too many playmakers for Michigan's defense. Auburn has a bunch of crazy formations. Exactly. Sneak up. I see you inside the comment box. You're exactly right. I mean, Hugh Freeze knows how to run the football. That was his game plan. They don't really have a quarterback that was going to beat Alabama. So, and I don't even think they threw for 100 yards against Alabama, right? They threw for like 101. Yeah, I'm going to talk about opt-outs in just a second because there's some things that I have to talk about with Florida State. Every single day, the headlines are about Florida State. I'll go ahead and talk about this right now before I talk to most underrated kind of going into this game. Okay, so this is about Florida State. Florida State felt that they should have made the playoffs, and then this whole thing has continued, and it's still going on. Every single day, there's a new headline, and all this stuff continues to go on. Well, Tay Rodemaker was the backup for Jordan Travis, right? So all these guys from Florida State are now opting out, and I feel that they're opting out because Mike Norvell did a poor job managing the end of the season for Florida State when they didn't make the playoffs. And what I mean by that is he said that the bowl games are irrelevant and why even play the game. So if I'm a player, I'm like, why am I playing in this game? What does FSU have in terms of opt-outs. They have like 7 or 8 guys. So the thing is, going into these bowl games, everything changed, and the bowl games became meaningless when you added the 14 playoffs. And now going forward with the 12-team format, bowl games are going to be even more irrelevant when you're looking at opt-outs, opt-ins. I know the quarterback for Notre Dame isn't playing in the Sun Bowl. Why do some of these guys opt out? That's why I kind of lead back to Coach Saban with the opt-outs. You look to last year, Coach Saban was able, he didn't make the playoffs, right? He didn't go and get like attorneys or the attorney general, or nobody came, a state representative didn't come and say Alabama needs to make the playoffs because this and that. No, nothing happened. They just didn't make the playoffs and they moved on. So what happened was Coach Saban was able to get Bryce Young and William Anderson to play in that game, right? They didn't have to play in this game. They already knew that they were going to be probably the #1 quarterback taken and the #1 edge rusher into the NFL draft. And that's exactly what happened. But those guys still played in the Sugar Bowl. And that says a lot about Coach Saban's process. You finish the job. And Mike Norvell, I think, did a poor job managing the back end of the season. And now, if they don't beat Georgia, they're going to say, well, we didn't have our players. So, well, yeah, you didn't have your quarterback. That is why you didn't make the playoffs to begin with. But you have to be able to, what's up, Keith? I see you inside the comment box, man. Enjoying Tuscaloosa. Definitely hit up Waysider if you can. I've been there a couple times, and the breakfast, it just slaps, right? It hits different. When I've been getting the 2 eggs with the sausage, can't eat that every day for obvious reasons. But the grits hit perfectly. And a lot of people like the cheese grits. But yeah, you're right. Gelato, what's up inside the comment box? Team player saying Milroe is garbage. Yeah, a quarterback that is taking his team to the semifinals and is transformed and was #6. In the Heisman voting is, I think he finished, #6 in the passing rating. So a lot of people have been continuing to rag on Milroe. He'll have his say coming up against Michigan. And even if Jalen leads this team to the national title, people are still going to hate on him, which is fine. I think it adds more fuel to the fire because you want that chip on his shoulder. And I think we've seen that from Jalen Milroe. Okay, most underrated, and then I'm going to take your questions inside the comment box. Most underrated for Alabama going into this Rose Bowl. I think the most underrated in terms of where Alabama's offense is probably, I think, the unit of the running backs. Because the running backs have been really steady this year for Alabama. I think when we look to Alabama's offense, we just quickly talk about Jalen Milroe, or we talk about the growth of the offensive line, or we point out the fact that the wideouts are kind of back. But I think the running backs have done a really good job being steady for Alabama. They've been healthy. They haven't put the football on the ground, right? I'm not trying to jinx them. I'm just pointing out facts. I mean, this team has been able to really run through the tackles, get outside on the outside. And, whether it's Jace, Roydell, Jam. I mean, Jam is probably, let me ask you guys this in the chat. You put an elephant emoji inside the chat if you think that Jam Miller is one of the most underrated players on this offense. I think if you're a Michigan fan or if you're a casual college football fan, you have no idea who Jam Miller is in terms of a running back for Alabama. Because, I mean, Luke agrees. What's up? Luke from Weaver, what's up, man? I see you. Ricky Smith. People do not know about Jam Miller. Jam Miller, look, Roydell Williams could not play in this game, Jace as well, and Jam he would probably run for 200 yards if he wanted him to. He's a beast. He's a complete running back. And you know what else? He catches the football well. I love the fact that he was able to catch that touchdown pass. And look, I mean, everybody is saying it. I completely agree. Guys completely balling out. Hey, we have 300 on live. If we could get 300 thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it, guys. Yeah, exactly. BJ, what's up? Jam is so underrated. 100% agree. Yo, and I do have to pause real quick. And I have to take it. Look, the 49ers took it on the chin last night. I know I'm a 49er fan. Look, they were beat up and down the field by the Baltimore Ravens. Brock Purdy, that was his worst game ever as a 49er fan. What did he have, 4 or 5 interceptions? But it was a dumb play call. The 49ers get to the 2-yard line. They're down 33-18. They can put another 7 points on the board, and they do some stupid. I didn't understand that play call, and then Brock throws another interception. So that was terrible. But yeah, getting back to Alabama, I think 1,000,000% Jam is the most underrated. Okay, on the defensive side, in terms of the players that are most underrated, I want to hear from you, chat. who do you think on the defensive side is the most underrated player for Alabama's defense? Yeah, and Lamar Jackson, I think he showed that he's the real MVP. For me, I think on the defensive side of the ball, in terms of being the most underrated, and this is going to sound, I mean, this might, because I'm looking at the secondary. You know what? I might say, Trey Amos is a great pick. Man, and because if Terrion leaves and he steps in, I feel really good about the secondary. Okay, so Trey Amos is a great pick. I'm going to go with Malachi Moore, okay? I think Malachi Moore, what he's been, because remember, Malachi Moore, when he got here, he was beaten out by Brian Branch. I think Trey Amos, I think you guys are right. I think it's probably Trey Amos one. I'm going to talk about Tim Keenan's another great pick. I'm going to go with Malachi Moore. He's super versatile. He's a player that is a leader on the defensive side of the ball. And people don't really talk about him that much, but he is one of the leaders of this defense. And I think with him, he plays a star position, but he can play safety. He's a guy that's been here for a long time. He's an in-state guy, and he has a lot of athleticism, and I think he does a really great job in open field tackles. So when I look to this Alabama defense, I think we can really talk about the two corners in Kool-Aid and Terrion, but we can talk about the safeties, we can talk about the freshman standout. But really, Malachi Moore, I think, is one of the players that we should certainly highlight as being an underrated player. So my two underrated players are Jam Miller on the offensive side of the ball, and then Malachi Moore on the defense. And you're right, David is saying Malachi has been around for a long time, and he gets better every single season. And you know what Malachi is? He's consistent. He's really good, and he's really consistent. So I think Malachi Moore is probably my underrated player. You know what? I'm going to throw in one more on the special teams. Jahad Campbell's a great pick. That is a great pick right there. I'm going to throw in an underrated player on the special teams, James Burnham. I think when you look to special teams, sometimes we don't always talk about the special teams. And we all know Will Riker, right? He's been here for 5 seasons, was robbed of the Lou Garza Award. But special teams, like James Burnham has done a great job. I mean, after J.K. Scott, I was like, oh man, like Alabama's never going to have, a quality punter. Or who is it going to be? Look, James Burnham is really good. I mean, he's not, J.K. Scott is better than him, but I think that James Burnham can flip the field. He's done a really good job. I don't think that, he's maybe shanked a couple punts. You know what was crazy was when that dude from Auburn was just beating the crap out of him in the Iron Bowl. It was like, welcome to America, welcome to the Southeast, So James Burnham, I can't even imagine his family. Robbie Oots is a really nice pick as well. But I think that James Burnham is probably my sleeper pick on the special team side. Okay, so what I want you guys to do right now, what's up, George? I see you inside the comment box. If you guys can post questions for me inside the comment box, I will answer you guys. I'm not having my call-in show today. I had some problems with the internet where I'm at, but life goes on. So if you guys want to post a question for me, I will answer you guys' questions. We'll do a little Q&A for the Rose Bowl or anything that you want to talk Alabama football related. So why don't you guys start now and we can do that. So I appreciate you guys being here. And while we wait for our questions, hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And if you want to become a fan funder of this YouTube channel, we got a score prediction from JG. I think that Alabama is going to win 31-14. I think that Alabama will be able to kick a late field goal, and I think they'll control this game. I think that maybe a big interception in the beginning of this game will kind of set the tempo for the Rose Bowl. And I think that, look, Alabama still has a chip on their shoulder. They're the underdogs going into this game, but 31-14 is my score prediction. Jarvis, if you're out there, man, what is the over-under on this game? Update on Evan Stewart. Let's talk about that. So, Evan Stewart is a wide receiver from Texas A&M that is now inside the transfer portal. He hasn't made a decision. We've seen him in Alabama football gear, an elite wide receiver that a lot of people wanted him to, end up at Alabama before he did take on to Texas A&M. He's an elite wide receiver. When you look to Alabama's wide receiver, thanks Jarvis, it's 44.5. So that 31-14 score would be over that. Evan Stewart would fit in nicely at Alabama. The thing is, I just don't know which wide receivers are exiting out. These are the things that are holding me up on Evan Stewart, is the fact that Jermaine Burton, what is he going to do? Is he going to come back or is he going to leave? He could come back. I think he needs to go on to the NFL. And then you also have Ryan Williams. What is Ryan Williams going to do? Yeah, he says he's a solid Alabama commitment. He even retweeted the Christmas graphic from Alabama yesterday on his social media account. But I don't know. I think it's going to come down to the wire until he signs his official paperwork. So those are two wide receivers that I'm looking at on the depth chart. Ja'Cory Brooks transferred out of Alabama to Louisville. So you do have some people. Exactly, Jarvis. I don't either, man. I do not trust anything until the paperwork is officially in. So I think Alabama would certainly welcome Evan Stewart with open arms, and I think it would make sense for him to come over here. And who can get you developed at the highest level? Who can get you the football? You see that Jalen Milroe's rising. You see that and next year's schedule is going to be primetime TV every single week for Alabama and all these SEC teams. So Evan Stewart, I do think that he's got a tough choice to make, and where to go. But I think Alabama could fit in with the NIL and come out here and fit into this depth chart. Should Jermaine Burton or Ryan Williams go elsewhere, I think a lot of Alabama fans would be happy if Evan Stewart does end up at Alabama. What other questions that you have inside the comment box? And, Alabama, I think will do. This is what I think as well from the transfer portal. Coach Saban said on signing day, he was like, we're not done with this class. I think there's a couple other guys that could be added, and I think a couple other guys will be added from the transfer portal. I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama takes a tackle from the transfer portal. I think it would make sense. They've done it in the past. Texas can do whatever they want to do, and they need wide receivers as well. And Damani Jackson is another one. So Damani Jackson, an elite corner. And this one makes sense because you look at, again, I always look to the depth chart. What does Alabama have coming in? What do they have going out? Damani Jackson, baller. Entered the transfer portal out of LSU. I'll get to that James Brockemeyer next. Damani Jackson entered the transfer portal from USC. And it does look like it's between Michigan and Alabama. So, look, Damani Jackson can just drive up from Los Angeles, wherever he's at, and go watch the game at Pasadena and make the decision, after the Rose Bowl. Jackson is nice, 100%. And I think if he comes in, he's a day one starter. Could you imagine? Check this out. What if Trey Amos, or what if Kool-Aid's going to leave, but what if Terrion leaves as well? Alabama's going to need two instant starters. I think Jamani Jackson and Trey Amos would fulfill that, and we could just move on. And Alabama's secondary would continue to be elite with those guys coming in as the corners. Then you pipe in, a couple guys, Little Jr., Caleb Downs is coming back, and then you have Devontae Smith. That is a true no-fly zone, right, coming back for the secondary. So I would love for Alabama. I would actually probably like more for Damani Jackson to come in than Evan Stewart. Not that I'm saying that, Evan Stewart, that Alabama doesn't need him. I think just Damani Jackson, considering the needs that you have on Alabama's defense, he would fit in. Deontay Lawson, I would assume that he comes back. I think that he still needs one more year. But, my audio, is my audio going in and out? Is it? It might be with this mic that I have. Is the audio coming in and out? I apologize if it is. I do have a mic. Audio is fine to me, JG. I'm sorry if the audio is kind of going in and out. I don't know. Deontay's saying that the audio is coming in and out. Is it? All right. Your audio is good for me. Give me a thumbs up if the audio is good. I just want to make sure that the audio is going to be fine. Audio sounds fine to me. Okay. I apologize if the audio is in and out. I do have a mic on, so I don't know. But I'm saying that Damani Jackson would be, I think, a key addition for Alabama and really a day one starter. And we do get some good thumbs up on the audio. So I don't know. Who knows, man? The internet, I'm not going to fight the internet ever. I mean, the internet is just like another entity. And the more you stress out about the internet, the worse your day is. So AJ, what's up? We see AJ inside the comment box. We'll talk to you again, AJ, soon. It was a little bit, but now we're good. Okay, but I want to hear your thoughts on South Alabama beatdown fight. So South Alabama, I was just talking about that earlier. So the fight with South Alabama after the game, I mean, you hate to see it, things happen in this life that shouldn't happen. You got to be able to control yourself, control your emotions, whether you win or you lose. It's not a good look for college football. It's not a good look for sports. These things happen. They're going to continue to happen. And I think that the more that we kind of put these things in the spotlight, the more that they might happen. But things like this have been going on for quite some time. So don't like the look of South Alabama and the fight that happened. But I mean, with that said, I mean, if someone swings on you, you swing back, right? You have to protect yourself. So, somebody comes and especially blindsides you from the back, I mean, you got to stand your ground and do, it turned into a melee. I mean, that was it. Do you think that Malik Murphy transfer could hurt Texas? That was one of the ones that I didn't understand. Like, for example, I don't think that these players are going to I don't think it's a good idea for the playoff teams, for any of their marquee players to hit the transfer portal before the playoffs. Like Malik Murphy, dude, you're one play away and you're a quality quarterback. Malik Murphy is right there. We saw him this season play for Texas. So him hitting the transfer portal and saying he's going to go elsewhere, I don't know if it impacts Texas that much. I would assume that he's going to finish out and play in the Sugar Bowl and, I would think the national championship. I think that Malik Murphy going on to Duke, I mean, good for him. I think with Texas, all the quarterbacks that they had, it kind of makes sense. I'm a big fan of his game. Excuse me. I think that he is a really good quarterback, and I think that he has another high ceiling. But I don't know. I mean, it does create, I don't know what it creates in the locker room sometimes, but Malik Murphy going on, that did surprise me, and I know a lot of people wanted him. Duke has been able to turn out a lot of good quarterbacks, within the last several years. So I think that he's going to be a good added weapon for him in the ACC. What else you guys got when you talk about college football headlines or just Alabama going into the college football playoffs? Why do you think Jim Harbaugh hasn't signed the contract extension? I think because the NFL is probably still on his mind. I think so. Jim Harbaugh, let me set the stage. I think there's like kind of the talk is Michigan is willing to offer him a $125 million contract to stay at Michigan, but there's a clause in there that says that he can't look at other NFL programs. Now, Jim Harbaugh, as you know, coached for the 49ers, coached at Stanford, coached at University of San Diego, and now he's with Michigan. And I think that he does want to be back in the NFL. I mean, you looked at what his brother was able to do last night against the 49ers, John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is an elite coach. I mean, we've talked about this before. How many years has he been with Baltimore? Like 11 years? So I would think that Jim wants to be back in the NFL at some point. He's going to have even more opportunities if he's able to win a national title this year. At Michigan, clearly, but I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to beat Alabama. And it seems like the thing with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh is it seems like college football is always after him. I think he does a lot of weird things as well. He's an awkward type of individual. Even like watch the press conferences coming up that we'll post right here on the YouTube channel. He's an awkward dude. But he can coach. He's a really good football coach, and Coach Saban, I know, has a lot of respect for him. I last covered Michigan when Alabama and Michigan played down in the Citrus Bowl for Orlando, and I was really looking forward to kind of like these catchy sound bites and things that he would say, and he's super smart, but he comes off a little bit awkward. So I don't know. I think that what's holding him back is simply signing. I think he still would like to be in the NFL at some point. And I think that will eventually happen. I don't know if it'll happen next year or the year after. I know there was some things happening with like the Minnesota Vikings that didn't pan out, but I would think that he'd want to be back in the NFL. But I have no idea. I mean, I don't know him personally, but Michigan, I mean, he has them rolling. I mean, their defense is really good. They haven't lost a game all season. Number one team in the college football playoff rankings, and I think a favorite over Alabama at this point. What else you have in terms of questions for me going into December, what's today? December 26th? But I've had a good time, and sorry, like I said, usually I talk about, have my call-in shows every single day, but, the internet wasn't cooperating today. So I'm actually just on my phone with a microphone here from Santa Fe, posted up. Tomorrow I fly out to Los Angeles, and we'll cover the Rose Bowl, which I'm really excited to. I used to live in Los Angeles. I used to live out in Redondo Beach, so there's a couple spots that I definitely want to hit on to check out in Los Angeles. But I appreciate you guys. Hey, Claire, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Luke asked, do you think that we can stop the run and make JJ throw interceptions? Yeah, for sure. I think going into LDM, ask that question in a second because the questions get kind of floated away. Yeah, I think, like I said in the beginning of the show, I think one of the major components of this game is Alabama being able to stop the run, forcing JJ, or it'll be vice versa, right? Like Michigan will either be one-dimensional in some capacity coming into this game. Steve is saying that the audio is breaking up. Is the audio breaking up? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it'll be okay in the South Bay, yeah. And I just saw that Talia is going to hit. Did I see that Talia is going to hit the transfer portal? I saw that he was going to hit the transfer portal as well. But I think that Michigan's going to be one-dimensional. I mean, they're not going to be able to run the football in Alabama. And I think that the fact that J.J. McCarthy, he hasn't, what secondary has he faced like Alabama's? Nah. And Raider fan is asking, does Saban retire if they win it all? No, I don't think so. Look, I think that Saban is about to still go on an epic run. Someone told me that like a couple years ago, that he's going to go on like this crazy ride as he exits out. And with the 12-team format, I mean, why not come back? I mean, you see him doing the recruiting, you see him on the grind. He looks great. His memory is super sharp. So no, I don't think that Saban retires. Oh, a lot of people have been asking about James Brockermeyer. Okay, so Tommy and James Brockermeyer came to Alabama. They were both Texas legacies, right? Their father played at Texas, played in the NFL, and both of these guys came here. Tommy transferred out, excuse me, and he went to TCU. So did JoJo Earl, and so did Trey Sanders. James Brockermeyer has stayed at Alabama, and I think he's like what, number 2 or number 3 at the center position for Alabama. I've always been curious this year why Alabama didn't have TJ over Seth. But whatever the case is, Seth has been doing a really good job. So I don't know if Seth leaves. I think James Brockermeyer, he's been patient. He's been here. I think he did graduate from over here. I think that he would be able to be a center at Alabama. And that would be an interesting storyline because people sort of wrote him off and said that he wasn't big enough. Now, Coach Sean and I have talked about this. He is undersized, and I feel that Seth is undersized. You look at the past centers for Alabama in the past, like Bradley Bozeman, remember him? He was a monster. Ross Piercebaker, he was a monster. Landon Dickerson, he was a monster. I still think Seth is a little bit undersized for the center position. That's why I kind of was thinking that it would be TJ to be the center, but whatever. I mean, Seth has worked on his game all season long. He's done a really good job, and Chris is saying that Seth is going to be back. I think so. Where's he going to go? I mean, if he has the COVID year, he could certainly come back. Dave, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Get some pics of the sunset for sure. Yeah, I can't. The Rose Bowl setting should be wonderful. This setup is pretty nice too. I'm here at Santa Fe. Here at my mom's, got the Christmas tree. Will Kirby Smart be the NFL? Man, I don't know about Kirby Smart. You look to all of those guys exiting the program from Georgia. With that said, they did just get Travis Etienne from the portal from Florida, which I think is a big pickup, and it makes sense considering that Georgia needed a running back. I don't know if Kirby goes to the NFL. What do you guys think? Do you think that Kirby Smart goes to the NFL? Let me know inside the comment box, just yes or no. People think that Kirby is out. That's why you're seeing kind of this max exodus at UGA. It's hard to stay consistent. It's hard to keep players happy. I'm saying no as well. And look, you see, because now that we're in this world of name, image, and likeness, this is just floating free agency. And I think that players can just go, like, what did Chip Kelly say recently? That pretty soon players are going to be transferring at halftime if they're not playing. This is the world that we live in. And when these guys are 4 or 5 stars, they're going to always have opportunities to go somewhere else. I don't think Kirby's done at Georgia. I think that Kirby's here to stay. Georgia's here to stay. I was thinking about this too. There's a scenario where Alabama and Georgia could theoretically play 3 times next season, right? With Georgia coming to Alabama, and then if they finish 1 and 2 in the SEC, and then if they somehow get matched up in the playoffs, who knows? I think Al Sanders is right. Kirby definitely is a college guy. I don't really see him in the NFL. I think there's smoke, and I think that players are just going to lose. I mean, how many times last year how many players left from Alabama last year? Wasn't it like 17 or 18? But most of those guys were kind of processed out. The guys that Georgia is losing are marquee guys that are leaving, big time guys that have gone elsewhere. So I don't know. Georgia's still going to be good. They're still going to be up there next year. Kirby has a really good thing going. Georgia's going to be right there in the mix next year, and they're going to be a handful for Alabama. You know, Stenson's coming back. I'm not sure where he thought he was going to go. But Georgia is going to have their quarterback. What other questions do you have going into this world? Let me ask you, who wins the Sugar Bowl between Texas or Washington? And I ask this because the last few shows that I've had, it's been kind of surprising that people have been taking Washington in this game. I don't think so at all. I think Texas beats Washington by, I don't know, 21 points. Look, see, there's a lot of, thank you. Adam is saying Texas by 14. I think that Washington is going to struggle with Texas, and I think that Texas is a buzz. I think there's two buzzsaws right now. I think Alabama's one. I think Texas is another. And I'm not. Look, yes, do I want to see that rematch in Houston? 1,000,000%. But see, a lot of people picking Washington in this game, and maybe it's. And Washington has been counted out a few times this season. They were one of the teams that they were ranked higher than some of the teams they played, and they were still the underdog and came back to win. I think they were the underdog against Oregon twice and against Oregon State. Big-time wide receivers, and Michael Penix Jr. Is certainly a baller. LDM, I'm with you, man. Alabama versus Texas in a rematch down in Houston. So that's kind of the game I'm going with. I have to sip some tea. When I talk for over 40 minutes, I got to get the tea in there. Dave, what's up? I appreciate the super chat. See you at the game. Tailgate at the Rose Bowl. Hey, if you guys are going to the Rose Bowl, you guys certainly need to, or will have an opportunity to support the players. So Terrion and Jalen, they have their whole length thing going on. So there's going to be a booth set up, I think, like the 30th through the 1st, where you can go back and support those players. And I think now all of those players can benefit from their name, image, and likeness underneath the link. So, definitely check out the booths that they have set up. I think it's just a couple minutes away from Pasadena. So definitely check that out. See, I'm with Guy inside here. Texas by 28 over Washington. I don't know about 28 points. That would be crazy. I still don't think that Washington was one of the top 4 teams. Right? We're about to find out. But it seemed like there was going to be a Pac-12 team in there, whether it was Oregon or Washington going into that game. So Xavier Worthy, everybody's watching kind of his status, and I think we'll find out. Thought that was coffee. No, I do have. Look, thought it was coffee. Look, I have coffee and I have tea. I'm rolling heavy over here. And the other thing is when I do my show, the further I go west, the earlier I have to do the show. So, if I'm doing, because I keep the show Central Time, and I have the show 9 a.m. Central Time, which is 8 Mountain Time, and I'm about to go to the west, which will be, what will my show be at? 7? That would be my show at 7 in the morning. So I don't know, we might have to talk to the crew, and we might have to get some sub-ins, because I'm covering, the media opportunities are like 8 in the morning for Alabama and Texas. So I'm going to have to talk with Smook, Sean, Ty, and Jarek, and see if some of those guys can cover for the morning show while I am out at the Rose Bowl. But I appreciate you guys being here and supporting the content today. I know that I couldn't take my call-in show today because of the internet or whatever, so I'm just kind of having a Q&A going into the Rose Bowl. I kind of like this setup. It's been nice. Maybe I should do more of the Q&As. Not everybody can call in. Already talked about Evan Stewart a little bit earlier in the show. I think Alabama certainly a great landing spot. So is Texas. And Alice saying, "Welcome to the left coast." Look, I'm going back to Cali. I want to go to. I actually really like Fat Burger over In-N-Out. I don't know if you guys. I know people are like, "What?" Look, and I get it, and I didn't say that In-N-Out is bad in any way, and I'm not saying it's overhyped, because it really is good. I get a double, I get it animal style. There's actually not an In-N-Out here in New Mexico. There's one in Arizona, and of course out in California, but I like Fat Burger. I like Fat Burger has always been a solid burger to me. But the places that I definitely want to check out, so I used to live in Redondo Beach, and there's a fish market that is close by Redondo Beach, so I definitely got to head over there and kind of get my fix. They have like a bunch of like fish tacos or everything that you could want. In-N-Out, see, someone's saying it's overhyped. I mean, I don't know if it's overhyped. I think that just there's other places that are good. So I'm staying in downtown LA. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the movies in popular culture that are in like East LA, so I'm definitely going to check some of those out as well. Leave me a comment. I will get to you guys on another show, on another live. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for supporting the content always. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football. See, Alice saying Fat Burger is better as well. Burger King. No, look, a Whopper, I'm fine with the Whopper. I'll eat a Whopper every single time. But I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing. And we're getting closer to 100,000 subscribers right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys supporting the content. I can't wait to get out to California. I'm feeling good. Had a really good year, and I have a lot of people to be grateful for that are behind the scene that make the channel what it is. and just feeling good. I have a lot of positive energy and a lot of things to be grateful for. So let's be good people. Let's continue to go into the new year with a lot of positive energy and just feeling good. Can't wait to get out to the Rose Bowl. Coming to you from beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico on December 26th. My name is Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate guys being here on the channel, sticking with me throughout the entire season. I hope I have showed a level of consistency that you guys definitely deserve. I mean, you guys cover the Alabama Crimson. You guys follow the Alabama Crimson Tide. You guys deserve the best 100%. And every single time I step onto the platform, I try to be professional. I try to be respectful to everybody out there because that is what you guys deserve. Real, recognize real. I appreciate you guys, definitely. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See ya.